And you also know we're not sexist about whose lives we save. As far as Tom goes, there's a good possibility that his life has not been in danger. But given the circumstances, I firmly believe that it has been. Now, there's a lot of folks out here who are nice. They don't have a lot of resources, and they don't have... there's a lot of things they're not able to do. As far as Tom goes, for that lady to try to insinuate that he's senile, basically, saying that he was wandering around aimlessly, he wasn't. He was trying to get away from her. And I guess the situation with yesterday morning is he'd gone in, washed up, used the bathroom, and as he was walking out the store, there she was. I'm going to try to panhandle up a little bit of money this morning because I got to make sure I get my insurance. Yesterday cost a lot of gas. We were able to find a few spots, and he's got this mission to get himself a motorized scooter or something of the like. Just because he did find a really good spot, and he knew it was there. He was sure it was there. It was a little further out than he thought it was. He was thinking like 15 miles or so, but you add a whole another 10 miles to that. That's a long bike ride, especially with parts of it being so uphill. As far as Molly goes, I haven't seen her. He hasn't seen her. So that's a good thing. As far as his independence, he is highly independent. A lot of the situation is a matter of convenience and also a matter of him really needing to get away out of her situation. See, this is all pour over from her issues. Now, as far as being victimized, I'm not going to pretend that he can't be victimized. He's 80 years old. For me to pretend that he should be able to defend himself against her because he's a man, well, that's just insanity. She's bigger than he is. She's younger than he is. He's 80 years old. Yeah, that's not the age people should be scrapping at. And he don't want to be scrapping with a girl. He'll take the abuse. He's shown already that he's just going to take the abuse when she assaults him. He's an at-risk adult because of his age. If he was senile, yes, that would make him an at-risk adult as well. But the thing is that he's not senile. He's not delusional. He's not demented. He's not schizophrenic. He knows up from down, left from right. He knows the area that he's in. He knows the landmarks. And he was able to take me somewhere last night that he hadn't been to in years, and he knew exactly where it was at. As far as the stuff on my YouTube channel with Molly, it does show what an unsafe situation that he and everyone else here has been in. Because we want to look away from a dangerous predator because she happens to be female. We should let her get away with it because she's female. We need to feel sorry for her because she's female. But here's the thing. All right, first of all, this is elder abuse and it's against the law. Not just the verbal abuse, but also the physical abuse. Also, you guys know how I feel about verbal abuse. You verbally abuse me, I'll verbally abuse you back. I think that's called fairness. It's called equality. And you guys get to see me on my YouTube channel sticking up for the minorities that you hate so much, sticking up for the immigrants that you hate so much. You see me sticking up for the homeless that you hate so much. Pretty much the only thing that we can agree on is that it's not okay to do these things to kids. But then again, even with the evidence of the abuse against many children in this situation, you guys still want to turn a blind eye. I'm not just going to pretend that these predators don't exist. And when you guys want to give me horrible advice, like just look away, oh, sure, you don't say it like that. You say, I just need to move on or I need to mind my own business. But really, what you're telling me to do is look the other way to abuse. That's not going to happen. You see, I know what America was founded on. And just because that no longer exists doesn't mean I'm not willing to fight for it tooth and nail. I want the Constitution back. I want it to apply to everybody in the United States. Matter of fact, I think the Constitution is such a great document, it should be used worldwide, with some changes, of course. The primary change that I would make to the Constitution is not to the Constitution. It's to one of the other founding documents. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution is the constitutional amendment that's supposed to make slavery illegal. But it doesn't. It very specifically stipulates in there that if you're convicted of a crime, then you can be used as slave labor. That is why 4 million homeless black Southerners all became members of chain gangs. Well, primarily, anyway. They tried to primarily focus on men. At the very beginning, using women in a chain gang was considered immoral, even though using women as slave labor in the cotton fields was not. The fact is, we still have minorities picking cotton in cotton fields, in southern fields, to this day. They didn't go 1 year without having black slaves pick cotton since the Civil War. Not one. I want you to think about that. We literally push the 13th Amendment as if it's some great part of the Constitution, and it's not. It just transferred ownership of those slaves from the hands of private slave owners into the hands of the United States government. Congratulations. I got my coffee this morning, and I will be shortly going over to the other end of the property here to try flying a sign. I hope I don't run into Molly. She's violent and she's crazy. The other thing is, you can tell the difference between her and that other gentleman who flies a sign down there. Yeah, he actually thinks he was with the CIA, and the CIA put alien probes in him and stuff like that. That's delusional. That's a possibility of being schizophrenic right there. With Molly, though, it's a matter of just one-upping people and wanting to talk over them, not wanting to hear what they say, and believing that if you just continue to talk over them over and over and over again, you won't hear anything they say, and you can claim they didn't say it. Molly is one of a great many women who are out here on the streets who are predatory. And they're the biggest issue among the homeless. The biggest issue, because they go unchecked because of your bias. No matter what situation, many of these women know that they can just simply pass the buck onto a male. There's also a lot of women out here fighting to change that themselves. One woman out here, she had a real hatred for men. So, of course, anytime there was any interaction with a man, he must be trying to get some nookie and all men are pigs and all this other stuff. Well, then she had a son. That's a woman who was a lesbian. And I'm not going to explain to you how she ended up with a son because I don't know. But I know after having a son, she she started speaking out against everything that she had done in her life towards men. She went, you know what? I don't want girls being allowed to do what I did to my son. That's a good point. Of course, she doesn't get to raise her son because she's out on the streets. Then we got issues with places like Boulder, Colorado. Well, Colorado in general. Abducting children of low-income families. Primarily blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girls under the age of 6. The younger, the better. The fee for a baby girl under a year old that the state gets their cut of, their cut. That's right. Making it sound like drug dealing, except it's a human life. Their cut for a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl who is under a year old is over $1.5 million. $1.5 million. Why do they specifically want the blonde-haired, blue-eyed ones? Why do they want them young? The younger, the better. The younger you get them, the easier it is to indoctrinate them, and the less likely they are to remember who their real parents are. One lady, her son was sold to a couple of florists in Denver. Sold to them for $800,000. That woman's name is Roberta, and they sold her second kid to those florists as well. I'm not out here talking out my ass. I'm out here saving evidence. Tom wants to be independent. He wants to take care of as much of this as he can himself. A lot of his limitations are financial because of what he's already expended for Molly. And I don't mean the drug, I mean the person. Then there's the expenditures to try to get away from her. It all adds up. Now, he asked me this morning when I told him I needed to panhandle up enough to live on. He said, is that your only income? I said, yeah, that's my only income. He didn't know that. He didn't realize that I was doing my best with jack shit and that I really need to go out and make that money. I mean, right now I'm down to half a tank of gas. I got to be able to put that gas in there. Now, that officer last night, he recommended that I take Tom to Portland myself. Well, Tom is capable, like I said, he's capable of doing those things. For me, giving him a ride to Portland, it would be a matter of convenience. It's not a necessity. And if he don't have to pull me away from what I'm doing to do that, it's not something he wants to do, it's not something he's gonna do. Problem is, he can't figure hide nor hair when it comes to the bus schedule. I got the same issue. I'm really good with drafts and tables, and the thing that I had to try to figure out the bus schedules from, it doesn't have the two dots that denote that it's a time, like 5:45 a.m. or things of that nature. It's just the numbers. So then you're looking through and you're like, which one is the time? Which one of these is a bus route? Or a bus route number? Anyway, I didn't look at it for very long because I got a vehicle and I was just trying to help somebody else figure it out, because Tom isn't the first person that I ran into that couldn't figure out the bus schedule. Now, the one that drives around town, yeah. The one that goes to Portland, they're kind of a pain in the ass. It's kind of like when you have to try to turn in a police officer online. They don't give you the option. There's no option to do that. They tell you this is what you need to do. You need to get a hold of this place and send the evidence over the internet. Meanwhile, it won't let you send it over the internet. But this is what the cops are telling you to do. And even after you explain to them that that's not working, they're still going to push it, knowing it doesn't work. They knew it didn't work the first time that they told me to do so. And I had one lady, she called me a liar. She said, this is in Tacoma, by the way. She says, I've filled out stuff online, and they do see it. I've filled out complaints online, and, you are able to send evidence. She was calling me a liar. I told her, you know what, I'll spend $20 on you right now. I will pay you $20 to sit down with me and take a look. She said, I'll tell you what, if you're right, you can keep your $20. So we sat down, and this is in up on 72nd in Tacoma at a Starbucks there. So the lady sits down with me, and after about, 20 minutes, she realizes that, yeah, it's not the way that she thought it was. The way that she had done it online with some other complaint, she wasn't able to find the way to do that. It was just a complete and total mess. Anyway, Tom's got a plan still. He still has the same plan as yesterday. I still have a similar plan to yesterday. I'm not likely to make as much money as I did yesterday. I made, I want to say $31. I might be wrong about that. No, $31 is not a lot of money. And with the amount of time that I've spent panhandling, it still only equals out to about $1 an hour. Well, maybe closer to $2 an hour, because $31, and I was there for 3.5 hours yesterday. So I did pretty good. That was about 10 an hour, but then you got to consider that there was several days there where I literally didn't make anything. With Tom's independence, I really do support that as much as I can. But as a matter of convenience and a matter of not wasting time, it'd be nice to get on it. Now, Tom gets on it. So that's something that I don't have to worry about. With all these other people, they're not going to get motivated like he does. He's able to do things for himself, and he likes to do things for himself. And of course, he was raised up in that era where you got to be manly men. You got to man up. We're in a different age now, though. We're at the point where, we've been living years and years of wives' tales. And now we've got, of course, Facebook and the internet letting us know what people really think. I mean, we already knew that women were 11 times more likely to be stalkers than men, well before any of this Facebook stuff. I mean, we had those statistics coming out in the 90s, but nobody wanted to listen to them. Nobody wants to believe that someone made of sugar and spice and everything nice could ever do something predatory. There's also the idea that if a woman is a predator, you should look the other way. And that's not okay either. I mean, if you look at all these people wanting to push how violent men are, most of the men I know who were murdered over women. Whether they were murdered by a man or a woman was arbitrary. The bullshit was over a woman. When Brian Farmer and Jared Wallace got killed, that was over Haley Smith. She just wanted to start drama. She didn't want Dino to leave. She wanted to get in front of his vehicle and jump on top of the hood of his vehicle. And, you know, that's just not something you do. I get for her that she was young and pretty and felt that it was owed to her, but it's not. We don't owe it to you to take your abuse. When Dino wanted to leave that party, Haley should have let him leave that party, but she didn't. And it got her boyfriend and his best friend killed. Not murdered. Not murdered. When you back a man into a corner like that, yeah, he has every right to defend himself and his life. He's having to deal with multiple assailants. You're goddamn right. He had every right to stab those people. And that's sad to say because I like Brian Farmer. He was nice. I like Jared Wallace too. Anyway, you know how he ends his videos. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind.